Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the Produce Buzzers podcast. We are so happy you have joined us today, and I think you will be too after the show is over, because you will learn a lot about fresh fruits and vegetables, how to select and store them, how to prepare and cook them, and surprising facts about their history and origin. We hope it inspires you to eat more fresh fruits and vegetables, not only for your health, but also for your delight and pleasure as you explore their amazing world of taste and delicious flavors. Eating more of them will transform your life in so many positive ways. So settle back, relax, and get ready for another delicious adventure with the Produce Buzzers. Greetings, Produce Buzzers podcast fans, and welcome to another edition of the Produce Buzzers podcast. I'm Edwin Stepp, your host and executive editor of Produce Buzz. I'm joined by Teresa Nolan, the founder and president of Produce Buzz, along with Rick Stepp and Cynthia Benedetto, both contributors to producebuzz.com. We have a very special guest with us today on the podcast. His official title at Melissa's Produce, which is based in Los Angeles, is Director of Public Relations. But we prefer his unofficial title, given to him by countless consumer and national trade publications, along with TV and radio personalities that have interviewed him over the years. That title is Produce Expert. We love that title here at Produce Buzz. He has been accredited with more than 20,000 articles in the press over his career. Please welcome Robert Schueller to the show today, Produce Buzzers.
Thank you for having me on there. I'm glad
welcome.
to be a part of this.
There probably is no one on the planet who is more of a produce expert than Robert, because his company sells thousands of different varieties of fresh fruits and veggies from all over the world. No wonder they are also known as World Variety Produce. Robert has written several books on fresh produce, including my favorite of his, which he gifted me a few years ago, Melissa's Great Book of Produce, which tells all about some of the most exotic fruits and veggies from around the world. It's a beautiful publication with beautiful photos. I remember interviewing Robert at a fresh produce trade show a few years ago. Melissa's booth at the show was one of the largest and featured a beautiful display of hundreds of exotic fruits and veggies that they sell. He took me around the display and without any hesitation described dozens of them, including their origins, tastes, and how to select and prepare them. Robert is going to tell us today about what fruits and vegetables will be trendy in 2022. But first, Robert, tell us a little bit more about Melissa's World Variety Produce. I want to know, how many different produce items does Melissa sell?
Well, that's a good question, Edwin. I kind of lost track when our product list exceeded over 1,500 items. We have somewhere between 1,600 and 1,800. It's hard to keep track of them all. We try to carry them on a year-round basis, but as you know, in the produce industry, some items are just seasonal. We try to grow as much as possible for the longest here in the United States, but when they go out of season, we're able to look below the equator in the opposite season and bring it in from another country. So, even though typically here is not the tree fruit season right now, peaches, nectarines, and plums, right now, it's the season out of Chile, and so we're importing them up there. So we try to make produce available on a year-round basis. Now, a little bit more about Melissa's. We've been a company that's been in business almost 40 years now. We're located in Los Angeles, but you will find our products in all 50 states. We actually distribute into all 50 states, all the major cities across the country, and the top 20 retailers in the country as well. You may also find our products, the Melissa's logo with the I in Melissa's is the carrot, also in some food service restaurants and sporting venues throughout the United States. But really, a lot of the restaurants are just in Southern California and Las Vegas market. But when I say in some of the sporting venues, we actually have placement into the really high-end restaurants, the press boxes, the suites in stadiums like New York Yankee Stadium, Met Stadium, the Flyers and 76ers in Philadelphia, Dallas Cowboys, the Washington Nationals, and every single play, all sporting venues in Southern California, from the Padres to the Dodgers to Angel Stadium to the Pond to SoFi, the new stadium for the LA Rams and Chargers, and also the Staples Center, of course, that houses the Lakers, Clippers, and the Kings hockey team.
Yeah, and as I remember seeing you when you launched that, they're not just in the restaurants. You have like a vending machine that can sell to the consumers at the sporting events, so they can take it to their seats and eat something healthy.
Yes, that's true. There are some concessionary stands that sell some of our products because they want to offer more than just hot dogs and hamburgers. So you might see some of our packaged clean snacks in the areas, but a couple of the stadiums actually sell. They have like at the Met Stadium and Yankee Stadium, you will definitely see like a little farmer's market of all these different produce items that you can pick up as well.
Wow, that's great. And that's going well. I hope so. That we need more healthy options at these events for sure. So congrats on that.
The stuff that you can pick up at the ballparks are that just to eat there? Like what are the items?
The one that we have at every concessionary stand or at the stadiums are the clean snacks. The clean snacks are the only granola type product that is distributed in the produce department. But instead of granola, hydrogenated oils, and all those artificial stuff, our clean snacks are little cubes. And even though they have nuts in them, they're flaxseed and chia seed base. We call them clean snacks because usually there's only about 6 to 8 ingredients, and hydrogenated oils and all that other stuff that you usually find in a granola bar. That's not in what a clean snack is. Yeah. But some of them actually sell packages of our dry fruits, like dry cranberries, raisins, and whatnot. And some of them even sell some of the produce, like a clamshell of grapes. In specific seasons, you'll find our tangerines, like our Ojai Pixie tangerines, bananas, apples, and pears. As we try to sell the best tasting ones at each of the stadiums during that specific time period throughout the season.
Yeah, and baseball season's a perfect time for the fruits.
Definitely, but we have it in the hockey, the basketball, even the soccer stadiums here in Southern California, like the football club, the women's soccer in the Inland Empire as well. Anything sports, we're hoping to get more and more of our produce in there because I think it's well needed. A burger and a beer is typical at a sporting game. But, these events have now become more family oriented. So why not just offer all the different food products there? Usually a game's like 3 or 4 hours and goes during a meal time. Why don't the stadiums just offer all what's available in terms of food, including produce?
Because you could do it, and it could be just a one-stop shopping. You could get your dirty water dog, you could get your cotton candy, and then you could get your fruit.
Yeah, including cotton candy grapes during the months of late July through October. They're domestic, and then in the imported season, so we have them for the other sports as well, not just baseball, but the imported season starts in February and goes to about May. So you can get cotton candy grapes, and you don't even have to buy the cotton candy.
Oh, well, I don't disagree. I have to, be an equal opportunity person. I have to get the candy cotton candy and the grapes cotton candy.
Just make sure you eat them in the right order because
for me, there's no order.
Yes. Cynthia has to get her sucrose and her fructose. Let's get into the main topic. We're eager to hear about what you think the trends in fresh produce will be for 2022.
Well, you probably want to know how I come up with this annual produce presentation that I do. I'm known for doing it at all the produce shows throughout the year. The way in which the studies is created is based upon produce sales from 2020 to 2021. And that's kind of an indicator of what consumers are going to buy in 2022. We look at the trend increase from that year to the next year, and that pretty much dictates what's going to happen in 2020. I don't go on hunch. It's factual, scanned information from the stores on what consumers are buying at retail. So I come up with this list that shows the most dramatic increases from those 2 years to where it is today. And one of the biggest categories you'll see is the baby specialty potato category that has been trending well. We're famous actually for our potatoes, but our signature item, believe it or not, are our Dutch yellow potatoes. That's our number one selling item. We sell it into every store across the country. They're small, they're yellowish gold. They're yellow on the outside, they're yellow on the inside, and they're their number one selling specialty baby potato in the United States.
Interesting. Yeah, potatoes are still a mainstay staple for everybody, but these potatoes give a little bit more convenience value, don't they?
They do, because we not only the ones that are trending are not only the Dutch yellow potatoes, but we also do them in a peewee size, which means a very small size, about the size of a quarter. So you don't even have to cut it. But the convenience factor on these baby potatoes is because the whole thing's edible. It's a very short cooking time, and they're much more flavorful than starchy. So given all that, you can definitely say that the baby potatoes are very convenient. And if you're a smaller family size, or you're a single person at home, it's not like you're going to eat a bag of russet potatoes anytime soon. It's going to take a while. The baby potatoes usually come in a 1 or 2 pound unit. So you only need a few little potatoes to make an instant side dish or whatever you're going to create for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
We joke with Rick, my brother Rick, because he microwaves almost everything in the veggie category. So I'm just wondering, Rick, what would you do with these baby potatoes? How would you cook them in your microwave?
Well, let's see. I've never really cooked a baby potato in the microwave.
Baby potatoes cook great in the microwave. And again,
don't encourage him, Robert. Don't encourage him.
You just have to add a little bit of water.
We're trying to get him use the oven every now and then. Anyway, no, go ahead, Robert. How do you? What's the best way to microwave the baby potatoes?
Oh, you can cook them anyway. What I like to do is just puncture them so they don't kind of pop. Pressure. You just puncture with a fork each of the little potatoes, and you put them in. If you put like 6 or 7 potatoes for a serving, the potatoes are about the size of a ping pong ball, just to give you some, when I say baby potatoes, ping pong ball size. So you just have to score them or put little holes in with the fork, and 2 minutes. See, a russet potato, if you put it in the microwave and you need to wrap it correctly, there's potatoes you can buy out there. It usually takes 10 minutes in the microwave.
Yeah.
So, and you made a big commitment there. They're just not as flavorful as these baby potatoes. Not only are the Dutch yellow potatoes popular, the gemstone potatoes, which is a mixture of both the red, purple, white, yellow. There's been this trend of color on the plate, getting kids to eat more fruits and vegetables by introducing color onto the plate. And so that's what you'll see in the gemstone potato package. And the fourth most popular in the potato category as a trend are little peewee medley potatoes. So basically, they're the smallest ones you don't have to cut, and they come in yellow, white, red, and purple, all in one bag. So again, a lot of the trends, are for families, especially for kids, getting your kids to eat more fruits and vegetables by way of introducing them to color.
The Dutch yellow potatoes, are they imported from Holland, or is that just they created the variety and they're grown?
Okay, so the origin of the Dutch yellow potato is from Holland, but in the last 20 years, they're only grown in Idaho. So none of the baby potatoes are imported. We grow them all in the almighty state who's known for their potatoes, Idaho.
Right. Are those proprietary to you, that variety, or is that available?
Yes, the Dutch yellow potato and the gemstone that I talked about. Those are proprietary, just Melissa's.
I've had the Dutch before. Man, they are flavorful. Really, really good.
Yeah. A lot of people get them confused. They think they're baby Yukon Golds. There's no such thing as a baby Yukon Gold. They're actually the Dutch yellow potatoes. And like I said, you'll find them in every store across the country.
And I think they're more
How do they
flavorful.
compare in flavor to the Yukon?
They're not as starchy. They have a faster cooking time. And other potatoes, other than the Dutch yellow potatoes, when you set them out, the lighting, the fluorescent lighting or the sun lighting can turn the skins green on a regular baby yellow, baby white, baby red, or Yukon Gold potato. However, the Dutch yellow potato, the skin never turns green. It never goes bad. Unless, of course, you set it on your counter for about 3 or 4 years. You know,
Yes,
maybe potatoes aren't for you if you keep them that long. But the Dutch yellow potatoes can just be on your countertop well over 6 months and not go bad. A regular baby potato, if it's sitting in the store too long, or if it's sitting on your counter for more than like 2 or 3 weeks, it's going to green on the outside, making the potato no longer edible.
Yeah.
And they won't sprout?
Well, you can make anything sprout by adding a little bit of water and sunlight. So if you want, grow them in your backyard. I just gave you the secret on what you need to do to grow potatoes.
Yeah, I was just
They're
thinking
proprietary. We're not going to steal anything from Melissa's, but is it still better to keep them in a dark, cool place, or are they better?
No, definitely. That's an ideal situation in a little gunny sack. You don't want to stack them in the refrigerator because you don't want them to get wet. That can get them sprouted or spoil, and that's typical for any potato. Usually put the potatoes close to the onions or around the onions in a cool, dry place. Sunlight and water will make them activate, and you don't want that.
Okay, got it. Okay. Great.
Yeah, I'd always heard that you weren't supposed to put potatoes and onions in the same area. Is that's not true then?
No. Don't put them in the same sack. But as you would not put an onion or a potato in the refrigerator, typically in your pantry, you have your garlic, your potatoes, your sweet potatoes, and your onions in the general area, but don't put them in one big sack. Separate them, but do not put them in the same sack.
What about pantyhose? What about pantyhose? You know that?
I've seen that before for onions.
Yeah. My wife's family, she's Italian, and they always wrap their onions in the pantyhose and twisted a knot between each one of them. They'd have these pantyhose hanging up filled with onions. Let's get back to some of the other things that are trending. You have some more exotic things on that list for 2022, I believe. Potatoes are great. We all love them, but, they're not quite as exciting as those other things you got on that list.
Okay.
Let's go to the dragon fruit.
Oh, okay. Well, yes, if we're going over to the fruit component, the dragon fruit has been the #1 trending tropical exotic fruit here in the United States. Now, there's actually 3 different varieties of dragon fruit that are available. The most common variety are pink on the outside and white fleshed on the inside. But there's also another variety that is exactly the same on the outside, pink, but it cuts a bright reddish purple, like a magenta color. So how do you know the difference when you go to the store? Read the little label. The label on the sticker says white dragon fruit or red dragon fruit, then you know. But now there's a taste difference. The white flesh dragon fruit, which is the most common, is very mild, like a muted kiwi. However, if you have a red dragon fruit, they're much sweeter. Now, the final dragon fruit, the final variety, and this is the one is my favorite of the 3, is the yellow dragon fruit. The yellow dragon fruit is actually yellow on the outside. It cuts only one color. It's white on the inside. And those are some of the sweetest fruits I have ever had and measured the bricks on a
What was the bricks? What was the bricks level? What was the bricks level?
22 to 24.
Oh, wow. So
For our listeners, bricks is a measurement of the sugar level in a fruit.
the soluble sugars. So
Most fruits are below 20 on the bricks level. For example, an apple averages about 10. Grapes can average at 12, and blueberries about 14. So above 20 is very, very sweet.
you said they were from Ecuador, and they
That's
are
correct.
very seasonal.
The yellow ones are just more limited. The season from Ecuador being it on the equator, we pretty much carry them year round. It's just that they're not as popular yet. They're just a little bit more expensive in comparison to the white flesh and the red flesh. They make up about 10% of the dragon fruit that are available out there in the marketplace. But
I've
we're
never
gonna try to
seen
carry
them.
it year round.
I've never seen them, so that would be right up my alley.
Yeah.
I'll try to look for them.
I think
You've had dragon fruit
you'll love
before.
them. Some of the, I can list about 50 or 60 retailers that carry them, but most often than not, it's more of a high-end retailer, more of a specialty store that carries them.
Mhm.
Maybe that will help you find them the next time you go to the store.
Cynthia's located in Florida.
There's only 2 states that grow dragon fruit. California is the late spring and summer going into fall, and Florida, they have it from early spring through early summer. Florida is known for their dragon fruit now.
Fantastic.
I have never
source from those
seen-
states, or do you just get yours imported?
We follow the seasons.
Okay.
We get them from Vietnam on a year-round basis. We get them from Ecuador 6 months out of the year. We get them from Nicaragua 3 months out of the year. We get them out of Honduras 3 months out of the year.
Yeah.
We now have dragon fruit year-round, but they're going to be in different growing areas, but they're very similar to each other. The only the yellow Ecuadorian ones, that's the only growing area. They grow the yellow ones year-round basis, but they're more limited because they're a newer fruit. We are actually the company that introduced dragon fruit into the United States by growing them domestically in California. That was like 15 years ago. The yellow dragon fruit are only 3 years old.
Oh, okay. So only 3 years. So do you have growers that grow for you specifically here in Florida?
Yes. We get a lot of great tropicals out of the Florida area. They're known for their star fruit, coconuts. We deal with about 15 or 20 different farms in the Florida area there.
In Palm Beach
Homestead,
County? Is
maybe?
it Miami? Do you know where it is in Florida?
South of Miami.
Homestead area.
Oh, south of Miami. Okay.
Mhm.
Bingo,
Okay.
Teresa.
Yeah.
Our
We
father
used to go there in
have
the winters.
our father used to have we'd go to Homestead in the winters because my dad continued his packing operation in Florida. So,
He also grew produce in Homestead.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shoot, I was hoping it was in Palm Beach County and I could like mosey on over and get some.
Well, you can always go, you can always email me, or of course, anybody can go to melissas.com and order it immediately.
Oh yeah. Their
Good to know.
website is fantastic. I was stuck on it this week for hours.
Thank you.
I have a question about the dragon fruit. Do most people eat that like you would eat an apple, like out of hand, or do they put it in a recipe?
Well, you don't eat it out of hand because you have to skin it, and they skin really easily. If you didn't know, they're in the cactus family, but very different from a prickly pear or what is referred to as a cactus pear. If you go to our YouTube, how to prepare and prep a dragon fruit, you will see how easy it is to skin it. All you basically do is cut both ends, score it across, and the peel just comes off like a banana. Most often than not, people just cut it into chunks and eat it straight up. But it's such an attractive fruit. On the inside, all the different dragon fruit have little black seeds. You don't taste the seeds. The seeds are not crunchy. It's like biting into a banana. You don't taste the seeds, or like on a kiwi, you don't taste the seeds. They're not crunchy like a guava or anything like that. But a lot of people cut them up and then they use it in with different fruit. They use it as a marinade. Dragon fruit has become so popular, you can find it in everything. Some of the mainstream coffee houses like Starbucks have dragon fruit refresher teas, or some of those frozen yogurt places, dragon fruit is one of those flavor profiles they put in there. So yeah, we've really seen, even though the dragon fruit's been around for over 15 years, in the last 3 years, it's really become more mainstream and people are finding out about it.
What's the bricks level on the other two varieties?
The white dragon fruit, which is the mildest, is somewhere between an 8 and 11. So it's like a really mild melon. The red dragon fruit bricks is somewhere between a 12 and a 14. Mm-hmm. So they're not overwhelming.
Right.
You see this fruit and you think it's going to be an overwhelming tropical fruit. That's true only of the yellow dragon fruit.
Yeah, but they are beautiful, aren't they?
They are. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like a work of art.
Yeah. Well, is there something about their flower? This just popped in my head because I read something about this a few years ago. They like flower one night or something. What's the story about the dragon fruit?
Okay, get this. If you were in California, Southern California, you would know about grunion. The grunion fish are these fish that come up during a certain time during the year, and they actually come up onto shore when the waves slap on and lay their eggs in the sand during the full moon. Same thing with dragon fruit. They only blossom in the full moon. Naturally, they're pollinated in the full moon by bats or special insects.
Oh, wow.
When we started growing them in Southern California, we don't really have the bats and the insects that naturally do it. So when they started growing them in Fallbrook, a San Diego area of California, 16 years ago, they actually have to pollinate them with little paintbrushes, like what they do with cherimoya to ensure a good crop. Yes, the dragon fruit are very interesting. If they do not get pollinated on that full moon, this beautiful big white flower will drop to the ground and will not produce a fruit.
So they're done by hand.
Wow.
So you talk about artificial insemination, huh?
They do that with a few fruits here in the United States because they don't have the native insects and bugs that naturally do that. Another great example of that is the cherimoya here that is grown commercially in California half of the season.
Yeah. Custard apple.
That's another name for it. Yeah. I just think it looks like a big green grenade. It's white on the inside with black seeds, and probably one of the best tasting fruits you've never tasted.
Yeah, but they are good. They are really good.
The graffiti eggplant.
Yes.
You word around the campfire is the female has more seeds, and you demonstrated on the blossom end how to tell the male from the female, but I couldn't get a good visual on the female.
Okay, so let me describe that. There's a couple of fruits that you can tell by the flower scarring if it's a male or a female fruit. This works best with eggplants, and I had noted that graffiti eggplant is the trending eggplant that we've seen the biggest growth on. They're beautiful eggplant, purple with whitish yellow striations or stripes on them, hence the name graffiti eggplant. Okay. So this is going to change your everything the next time you go shopping for eggplant. You have to look at the stem end. The stem, not the stem end, the opposite end. The opposite end is where the flower first arrives. The flower needs to be pollinated to turn into the eggplant, which is botanically a fruit, but people think it's a vegetable because you cook with it. Now you're going to see two types of scars, and you're going to see this really easily on the bottom of every eggplant. You're either going to see a smaller round scar. That's a small flower because it was a male eggplant. It's not going to have as much seeds. When an eggplant doesn't have as many seeds, it's not as bitter. Now, the other eggplants that produce a more elliptical, larger scar, because it had a larger flower, because it had it was pollinated well, is a female eggplant. The female eggplants have more seeds. So it would have more bitterness to it in flavor profile. So depending on if you wanted a sweeter eggplant or a more bitter common eggplant, now you can go shopping and pick what type of eggplant you want.
This sounds like fruit pornography to me. I'm telling you, going into grocery stores looking for their sexual parts. What's this about? This is a family show, Robert.
Sorry, she asked.
Leave it to me to always ask the non-G-rated questions.
What's so special about the graffiti eggplant?
Well, there's so many different varieties of eggplant. There's about 12 commercial varieties that we do in the United States, you know, whether it's the big globe one, but over the last few years, the ones that have really been trending have been the smaller, thin-skinned ones where you can actually eat the skin as well, like the Chinese and the Japanese and the Thai eggplants. However, the graffiti eggplant is smaller. The skin is edible. You can use it either way. Unlike the globe eggplant, you don't want to eat the skin. It's like leather, right? And the graffiti eggplant has a great presentation on the outside, which is purple and yellow spots and lines on it. It was just given that name. This is a variety that actually is imported in from Holland, but more recently, we now carry it on a year-round basis because we now have a lot of our growers in Mexico growing it to be able to grow it on a year-round basis.
Fantastic. Does it keep that color when it's cooked?
It does keep color, doesn't keep the bright purple color, but you know, a lot of times when you cook things, especially when it has a darker color, whether it's black, purple, or whatever, this kind of has a purplish dark color to it. It does lose some of the colorization unless you know how to flash cook it, and then you can have a shiny skin on the outside. But that's an Asian technique. When you flash cook Chinese or Japanese eggplant, you would do the same with the graffiti eggplant, and then you would have a brighter skin with the striations on it. It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
What do you mean by flash cook?
It's a technique used in mainly Asian cooking because in Asia, Chinese, Japanese, Thai, and whatnot, eggplants is like one of the most popular vegetables. In the way in which it's cooked, it's kind of saute where you bring it from the hot heat to a cooler temperature using ice water, and it won't fade the color of a skin which usually happens during normal cooking, because an eggplant you don't eat like an apple, you actually cook with it, whether you steam it or in most cases than not, people like to use the oven. An oven is a long time cooking process which will fade the color of the skin.
So you wouldn't blanch it.
It's like a blanch, but between the fast cooking of either sauteing it, deep frying it, or dipping it in oil, and then bringing it to a cold temperature really fast.
Okay.
Yeah.
It takes that heat out, and that keeps it from destroying the color, I guess.
Definitely.
I have two more things. The pink pineapple.
Yes.
Where are they coming into?
Okay. So the pink pineapple is not only the newest, but it's actually the rarest fruit in the United States. We introduced them with the main company that most people know, Del Monte. We bring them in from Costa Rica, where 99% of your pineapples that you buy at the store come from Costa Rica. That's where they're grown. We introduced them right before COVID. So it was like in the fall of 2019, and instant became the #1 selling fruit on our website. The reason for that is because for the first year, they were only available online. So in the last 6 months, 7 months or so, we started to get more distribution of the pink pineapples into supermarkets across the country. But let me make a note on that, because most stores you go to are not going to have pink pineapples. And one of the only ways to get it is online at melissas.com. They're a little pricey. I just wanted to let you know when we first
Define
started.
a little pricey. Say like a regular pineapple north of $5.
Okay.
Not much.
So regular, yes, you're right. A regular pineapple is $4 or $5. It's gold on the inside, and 9.5 times out of 10, it's definitely going to be from Costa Rica. These are from Costa Rica. When we first started distributing them in the fall 2019, it was like September, October. We were selling them for $50 each.
Holy shnikes.
3 months later, right in the smack time when the pandemic hit, the COVID, we were starting to bring in more. Supplies were going up, and demand was still high. And the current price for them online is $29.99. They come in a great, beautiful box. And so you're thinking, okay, other than color, is there anything different? What's so special about these pineapples? There are two big things with this pineapple. One, they're very low acid. For people who hate pineapple, because when they bite into a pineapple, it stings their mouth, it doesn't do that. And second, it is because of its low acid, it has high sweetness. So you're never going to taste a pineapple as sweet as these.
Okay, so what's the bricks level on that?
The bricks level, a regular pineapple is about 17 to 19. These bricks somewhere between a 20 and a 24.
Holy.
That's great.
Oh my goodness. And so
Sounds
you would just
wonderful.
eat them the same way?
The exact same way. But when you receive the pineapple in the box, you will not have the green top. First of
Right.
all, the green top is not edible. Second, for those who don't know, have never tried to grow pineapple, you need the top part of the pineapple to regrow a pineapple. So what the growers are doing is, before they ship them from Costa Rica here into the United States, they cut off the top and they replant. And that's going to be the next year of pink pineapples based off that. So all you're going to get is the round fruit without a top.
So,
And
and
that
that's
fruit is-
$29 and it's one each in a case, in a box?
That is correct.
When they cut that top, then the fruit is exposed, so it has to be wrapped. Or no, it's not. They don't.
Nope, not exposed.
Okay, got it. I was thinking when I get a pineapple at the store, I cut the top off. I cut it. Yeah. Okay. Great. And is that a pink? That's a regular yellow one, isn't it?
No, this is a pink
That's
pineapple.
Okay. So that was my next question. Are they the same size as what we would normally find on the yellow or gold? Or are
Pretty
they-
much the same size,
okay.
about 5 pounds.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. That's a lot of fruit. 5 pounds for
Yeah, that's a
$30.
typical pineapple. It's 4 or 5
Oh,
pounds.
it's not a bad deal.
Not a bad deal.
$6 a pound. You pay that for
Yeah.
that stuff.
And so
I'm
if you were at
thinking
the
it's
grocery, Go
I'm
ahead.
thinking it's going to be, these pink pineapples are going to be more accessible in about 2 years.
Yeah.
The
great.
price will come down. Again, we're dealing with a simple supply and demand issue. 2 weeks before Christmas, we sold out and we're still on back order for Christmas and New Year's
For
gift giving.
next year. For next year.
No. This
Oh, no.
past year,
Okay, this past year.
we
yeah.
sold out 2 weeks before Christmas.
Right.
And then we had informed people that we sold out and we can put you on a wait list. People are still waiting from Christmas and New Year's Day to get their pink pineapple
Oh.
gifted, to whether it's to themselves or family, because we gave them the option saying, well, you would just have to wait on the next shipment, or we'll cancel your order and you can order something else. And we still have a list that we need to fulfill because they still want the pink pineapple.
Oh, I bet I wouldn't get off that list. I'd be like, save my place in line.
Okay.
In the grocery store, so one way you'd know it was a pink pineapple might be that it would have the top taken off if it were available in a grocery store. Is there any other distinguishing outside characteristic?
The big label that says Pink Glow. It's actually called Pink Glow Pineapple. I've seen retailers pop off the tops at retailers to save space.
Mhm.
But there's one thing about the pineapple, they'll always have a little label on it. My label
Mhm.
already popped off. But yes, that might be a distinguishing thing. If the retailer wants to save space, they're now cutting them off to save space in the produce department. But I think a pineapple looks much prettier with the green top on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Just that you don't.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Can you ship regular pineapple with the tops cut off?
We don't sell them with the tops cut off because most of the retailers like the pineapple presentation. But I've
Right.
seen it in stores, not from Melissa's, where I don't know if the distributor or the retailer chopped them off when they put them in the display. But I think they have a greater presentation with the green top on. But you can't do anything with the top. You can only recycle it and put it in your green bin. I mean, if you lived in Hawaii, you could probably put it into the ground and start growing it, but you can't grow pineapples here in the United States. I mean, they have to be pineapples to grow. There's high humidity in that area. It has to be like 100 degrees, like 320 days out of the year. That's why they're grown in Costa Rica. The ones that came out of Hawaii, because, those are very rare. They're 3 times the cost of a regular pineapple. So a Hawaiian pineapple usually in the store costs about $13. It's not so popular when it tastes basically the same when you get it from Costa Rica. It put Hawaii out of business.
Sure.
What a shame that was about the Hawaii being gone.
Yeah, well, it's not totally gone. There's still 1% of Hawaiian gold pineapples are still distributed in the United States, but they're at very high end because people get sticker shock when they see a $4 or $5 regular pineapple next to a $10 one. Think of it, what they're going to see when you see the pink pineapples that are sold at retail or the sticker shop. And that's why you would only find some pink pineapples at selected high-end stores across the United States. We distribute in about 12 major metropolitan areas.
Wow, very interesting, Robert. Thank you. Can't wait to see those pink pineapples more prolific in the grocery stores at some point. Maybe all those tops they're cutting off will speed it up and we'll have them again soon. So, Cynthia, I know you're chomping at the bit to ask Robert about a couple of the other items on his list. So where do you want Robert to take us next?
Okay, what about the butterscotch pears?
Oh, okay. Yes, the butterscotch pears have been trending in the fruit category for some time now. Those are actually also known as the Korean pears. We actually get them from South Korea every year. It's one of their prized fruits. It is in the Asian pear family, but tastes different and looks a little different. They're much larger in size. The butterscotch Korean pears have a really thin skin that is like yellowish gold on the outside, but it's very thin in comparison to a regular Asian pear, or what they refer to as apple pear here in the United States as well. The core is completely like tiny, like the size of a dime. The fruit is basically entirely edible. You know how you slice it into like quarters? That's how you would usually cut a pear or an apple because of the larger core on the inside. Mm-hmm. The Korean pears are actually cut into discs. So you cut them the opposite way because even the core and the little seeds are completely edible. So nothing is wasted on these butterscotch pears. The season starts in November and it goes through March.
Now, does the butterscotch name, does that only refer to the color of it, or does there a flavor, butterscotch-ish flavor?
No, the color is butterscotch. The flavor is more similar to a Asian pear, but is sweeter. When we first started marketing what we call now the butterscotch pears, we called them Korean pears for several years, but we kept on getting emails from consumers thinking that they're coming from North Korea instead of South Korea. So we had to use a term that was more
less political.
Yes, less political there,
Right.
That would be like the Kim Jong-un pear, wouldn't it?
I don't know if those sell too good here. So
are they like crunch and juice like a regular Asian pear? Do you crunch into them and they just kind of disintegrate?
Extremely crunchy, like an apple, much more sweeter than an Asian pear. But this is the coolest thing about the butterscotch pears. I didn't even tell you this. When you cut them, you can put them on a fruit tray. They do not oxidize. Apples and pears oxidize.
Right. Which causes them to turn brown.
That's
the
huge.
butterscotch pears do not oxidize.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Are they available in a lot of stores now, or are they still limited?
Nope. Find them in most major supermarkets across the country.
Yeah.
So this pack out is $25.29 on your website. Is that for 3 each?
Yes. Typically, if you buy them on melissas.com, you can't just buy one. you have to buy them on a specific quantity, whether it's like a 3 count, 6 count, or a 9 count.
Okay.
Yeah. So nothing we sell online is just one, except the pineapple. The pink pineapple, only one, because
Right.
obviously it'll add up pretty fast, because the pink pineapples are the second most expensive produce item in the United States.
And the first is, come on,
Truffles, $1,500 a
truffles,
pound.
of course, truffles.
White or black? The white are usually more expensive.
White are $2,500 a pound. So white truffles, black truffles, burgundy truffles, pinklo pineapples. There we go.
Do you guys sell truffles too?
Yes, we do.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I missed that. Fantastic.
Yeah, we don't sell much online. We sell a lot to food service.
Right.
And then during the holiday season, some of the really high-end retailers actually do carry truffles.
Right. Wow. Well, there's not much Melissa's doesn't sell. Okay, Cynthia, what else have you got for Robert?
You know, you had mentioned that you're doing that combination pack of the ginger and turmeric. And that's interesting because I just picked up some turmeric the other day, and that was the first time that I had seen it. Actually, I probably wasn't looking for it.
Melissa's is the largest provider of fresh ginger in the United States, and also the largest provider of fresh turmeric in the United States as well. Most often than not, it's probably our product. But one of the value-added products that we have and has been trending is that typically when you buy them separated. We actually put the ginger and turmeric in one package.
Yeah, that's what I saw. Yeah, it looked really.
And so it's a grab and go package, because people who use turmeric interchangeably. And especially for those who do like the green smoothies, or they do blending and make green machines or whatever you call it. Those have been two trending roots for quite some time, obviously for their flavor profile. The coolest thing about those two roots is that they're shrinkless, because you can always keep them in the freezer and pull them out when you need it. The easiest way to peel both ginger and turmeric is using a spoon. So you don't have to use a knife, because, they're all knobbly and whatnot. Just use a spoon and the skin comes right off. A little goes a long way. Turmeric and ginger, a little bit, can make a dish taste wonderful.
Saying you can put the ginger right in the freezer, the root itself in the freezer, and keep it there. You don't need to chop it up or anything. You just, okay, great.
When you take it out,
because I keep
when
losing.
you take it out, you just use the spoon to peel the skin on both turmeric and ginger. Turmeric and ginger can stay in the freezer for like well over a year.
Oh, wow.
That's
And
good.
so when you thaw it out, you just pull out a chunk and put it in the drawer?
Yeah. Usually you need only about the size of a quarter, and they're
Mhm.
like knobblies. So the turmeric are smaller, but the ginger, the knobs are bigger. So you just like pull it off, click it off, or just cut off what you need out of the freezer. And then so you don't create waste, and that's really what a lot of the trends about, is not having waste, or having so much waste with your cooking scraps and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Do you know if you sell turmeric powder also?
We do not do any powders like that.
So with ginger and turmeric being so in the news for its health benefits, if someone who didn't use either of these two things wanted to start out adding them to their diet, what recipe, what preparation would you recommend they start with?
Well, ginger and turmeric, I definitely have a great flavor profile when doing something, either juicing or blending as a smoothie. They're two distinct flavors, but they can be used interchangeably. They have a lot of great health benefits that has really pushed them forward to why they're becoming so popular in the marketplace. But the funny thing is, if you didn't know, is that all Americans were eating turmeric all this time and didn't know. Up until about 5 years ago, on mustard containers, there would be this ingredient called yellow number 40. That was actually turmeric. So when it became a marketing thing that turmeric was good for inflammation, all the mustard companies took off yellow number 40 and put it in with its true name, which is turmeric.
That's
So-
great to know. I always thought that was like the red dye number or something that was supposed to be carcinogenic, but now
You leave that dye alone.
I thought you were going to say they'd been putting them on Cheetos and we didn't know it all this time. Would have been good for us.
Good thing I'm covered on that.
It could be next. I don't know. The next trend there.
The turmeric does stain like Cheetos, that's for sure.
Worse.
It does, but you
Yes.
have to be careful when cooking with turmeric, especially if yellow plastic
Oh yeah.
or yellow casserole dishes, it
Mhm.
will fade. It is a dye. You ever get mustard on your shirt? That's because of turmeric.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you have to wear your pomegranate shirt when you cook with turmeric. It gets all over your hands too. Your hands turn like an orange color. Don't do
Mhm.
this
yeah.
unless you want to tie dye your shirt.
I put turmeric powder in my salad dressing that I make.
There you
But
go.
I've never tried. I'm sorry to say I've never bought the actual root
Fresh.
at the store. So I'm going to try
We
that.
found something that he doesn't do fresh.
Yeah.
Fresh is always best. That's my bumper sticker. And you'll taste the difference between the powder. The powder is less expensive. Richard, whatever you're putting that turmeric in, and like I said, a little bit goes a long way. Try it with fresh. It might be life-changing. It's like the difference
Okay.
between using dry dehydrated herbs, using fresh herbs.
Yeah. That's.
I mean,
Yeah.
so you've at least
Mhm.
tried that with basil. Powder basil versus fresh basil, you'll never go back.
Right.
Right.
Just don't put it in the microwave, Rick. We don't want. Well, I'm really, really sorry to say we've run out of time, Robert. But there's still so many things on that wonderful list of trending fruits and veggies, and we'd love to talk to you about them. Will you come back another day?
Anytime. This is fun.
Great. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And
We love you because you're a fountain of knowledge and it was really interesting. And thank you so much.
Thank
all right.
you.
Well, thank you, Robert.
Nice
All
to
right,
meet you.
guys. Take care.
Bye.
Have a nice
Great.
day.
As Teresa said, Robert is so knowledgeable and so passionate about fresh fruits and veggies, as we are here. We love that passion, and that is why the Produce Buzzers podcast exists, to spread that passion far and wide in the hopes that many others will capture that passion and eat more fresh fruit and veggies. If you do, it will change your life in many ways. Robert will be back in another episode very soon, so stay tuned so you don't miss hearing him again. Please take a second before you leave to subscribe and or follow our podcast on whatever podcast platform you are listening on. We are on over 10 different podcast feeds, including YouTube. And if you want to help support this podcast by making a donation, we would be so grateful. Just go to anchor.fm/produce-buzz, and you will see a support button below the podcast description. Click on it, give what you can. No amount is too small, and, of course, no amount is too large. Thank you, listeners, and good night. Well, thank you, listeners, for tuning in to the Produce Buzzers podcast, brought to you by Produce Buzz, the gathering place for lovers of fresh fruits and veggies. We hope you were entertained a bit and educated a lot about fresh produce. Be sure to join us next time, and please tell your friends to do so as well. Like, share, and comment on our Produce Buzz Facebook page. And check out our website at www.producebuzz.com. There you will find articles about fresh fruits and veggies, how to select, store, and prepare them, as well as lots of interesting facts about all the wonderful bounty the earth provides for us. Until next time, be fruitful and don't forget to veg out.